Before there was such a thing as a Connecticut high school state championship football tournament, the New Haven Register Sportswriters Association voted to determine the top teams in the state. In 1970, the Green Knights, with a record of 9-0-1, were the only undefeated Class L football team in the state. Although that team was edged out of the top spot by sportswriters, it provided Notre Dame fans with one of the most outstanding seasons in our history. Join us now in saluting the 1970 CIAC Class L Merit Award winners.
We want to thank the Notre Dame administration, the athletic department, and athletic director Jason Shea for this award and recognition for this special team. We also want to especially thank Brother George Schmitz and Coach Tom Marcucci for their help in making this all happen for us.
And we'd also like to acknowledge that the rest of our teammates, the senior class obviously was the integral part, but we had a lot of support from the sophomore and junior class. I believe the team number was 48. Okay, and as of today, 10 of those members have passed, 3 of which were our classmates, A.J. Belmont, Kurt Scherholz, and Billy Byrne. We just want to make sure that they are recognized as well.
Back in 1970, there really were no playoffs as they are held today. The recognition for state championships was done via a sportswriters poll governed by the New Haven Register. And although the 1970 team was 9-0-1 that year, we were not selected as state champion. The high school team from Stanford, who actually lost a game that year, was selected as number 1.
And walking in the door, the enthusiasm of all of us freshmen, and I think half the class went out for the freshman team. They had tryouts over 2 days, and then they had callbacks, and it was you could tell you were involved in something special. And the coaching staff, I'd be remiss if we didn't mention, other than my dad, Coach Tellier was probably the number 1 influence on my life.
We were blessed, as John said, with the coaches that we had. The game that was memorable to me was the Xavier game, which happened to be the week after. We won the game 12-6, and I remember we had a couple of goal line stands, one particularly toward the end of the game that helped seal the game for us, which was pretty memorable.
Ansonia, it was our 5th game of the year. So we were already through the grinder. We're 5-0. They're 5-0, and we go up there, and I think to a man, we're amazed by how many people were there. Depending on the newspaper you read, it was either 5,000 or 8,000. Every game, our offensive line was outstanding. But in this particular game, I'm playing fullback, and I'm pounded up in there, and I'm getting 3-4 yards, and mainly because the offensive line was knocking the crap out of their defense, and I was just running into their back. And finally, about halfway through the third quarter, A.J. Belmont turns to me and says, "Back," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So the next time I carried the ball, he ran into his back again, but it was just that kind of a game, and it was a great atmosphere. It was a really special night.
Another game that was memorable to me was White Plains, and the reason that it was because at that time, and maybe even still now, Connecticut schools did not go outside the state to play. We scored late in the fourth quarter. They scored later in the fourth quarter, so they trailed by 1 point. Their coach determined that they wanted to go for the win as opposed to kick the extra point and walk away with a tie. We ended up stopping the play and ended up winning the game, which was pretty terrific for us. That year, there were 8 players named to the district team from the team. There were also 8 honorable mentions for All-State as well. Of the players that were on the team, at least from the senior class, 9 of them went on to play in college. And of those 9, 5 of them were selected as captains for their respective teams. So, we learned a lot of football when we were at Notre Dame, but we learned a lot of leadership as well. It's clear that the winning tradition continued for the 1970 Notre Dame high school football team. Thank you very much. What we'd like to do now is recognize the players who unfortunately have passed before us.